Hello children, today we are going to learn the chapter A Visit to Cambridge, which is written by famous writer Firdaus Kanga, who is a journalist from Mumbai. He was born with brittle bones that tended to break easily when he was a child. The lesson gives us a glimpse of the meeting between Firdaus Kanga and Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking, who is one of the most greatest scientist of our time, suffered from a form of paralysis that confined him to a wheelchair and allowed him to speak only by punching buttons on a computer, which speaks for him in a machine like voice. Both these men moved around in wheelchairs. It was during Firdaus Kanga's visit to Cambridge that they met each other. So, in this chapter, we are going to learn about the meeting of Stephen Hawking with Firdaus Kanga and what are the questions put up by Firdaus Kanga from Stephen Hawking and what values he has learned from him as they both are disabled. So let us know about the summary of the chapter. A visit to Cambridge by Firdaus Kanga begins with him taking a walking tour through Cambridge. During this tour, his guide mentioned that the famous astrophysicist Stephen Hawking lived there. The author had completely forgotten about this, and just as his tour ended, he went to a phone booth to contact him. He was able to talk to Hawking's assistant and explain to him that he had come all the way from India on a wheelchair. The assistant allowed him half an hour with the scientist from 3:30 to 4. The writer mentions how people often ask differently able people to cheer up as if they have a courage account they are too lazy to draw a check on. So we can see that author wanted to meet Stephen Hawking and he also got the appointment for the meeting. He feels the only thing that can make you stronger is seeing someone like you achieve something great. So here the author is also disabled and he is going to meet the scientist who is also disabled and he is very excited to meet the disabled scientist who has achieved such a greater height. Stephen Hawking told him that he hadn't been brave and this was the only choice he had, although the writer is of a conflicting view. Stephen Hawking is saying that he was not having a choice, that rather he should be sad about his plight or he should do some hard work to prove himself. The author was guilty of making the scientist speak as it took a lot of effort for him to tap on his little switch and find words in his computer. As Stephen Hawking was unable to speak and he was speaking with the help of computer. So the author was feeling guilty every time when he was asking question from the scientist. He was a man with a bright mind, but his computerized voice made his thoughts come out as frozen phrases because he was talking through a machine like voice, so it was lacking emotions. Stephen mentions that he finds it amusing when people patronize him. The writer then gives a description of Hawkins as to how he looks like a three-dimensional version of all his photographs in magazines. Now writer is telling him that how he looks like in the magazines, the photographs people show in the magazines. They are printed in the magazines. First impression of his appearance is shocking, but he is the embodiment of inner glow in a man. As a writer has known him, what kind of person the Stephen Hawking is. So now the outer appearance of the scientist doesn't matter to him anymore, and he can say that it is the eternal souls that matters. Rest everything is just accessory. He made the author believe in eternal souls and that everything else is just. Hawkins thinks there is nothing good about being disabled, but the writer is of the view that it makes you realize the existence of kindness in the world When author has asked him that is there something good about being disabled, then Hawkins replied that there is nothing good in being disabled, but it teaches you kindness in the world. Further, upon being asked if he inspires a lot of people, makes it any better for Stephen, he answered that it doesn't. For someone whose body is like a claustrophobic room, whose walls are getting narrower day by day, it doesn't make much of a difference. The only advice Stephen had to offer to differently able people is only to focus on things they are good at. So he is advising the disabled people that they should concentrate on the things they are good at so that they can perform well in that. The half an hour came to an end and it was time for the writer to leave, but the scientist made him stay. It was half an hour was over and now Fardos Ganga wanted to go back. But Stephen has told him to stay and had offered him tea and a tour of his garden. His garden was as big as a park, but Stephen covered every inch of it in his wheelchair. So you can see that despite the scientist was being disabled, he was keen to show him his garden on his wheelchair. So he was so determined and so enthusiastic to show the writer his garden. They did not talk much in the sun when it was time to leave. The author touched his shoulder and wheeled out. As he looked back, he could see an embodiment of his bravest self. He is talking about Stephen Hawking when he was looking back at him. The one he was moving towards and the one he had believed in for so many years. The writer was very much obsessed with Stephen Hawking. I hope the chapter is clear to you. Thank you.